Hello and welcome in to LFC Transfer for our live match reaction after Liverpool have just beaten Red Bull Leipzig in the Champions League, joined by Dylan. I'm just going to call you CT, so that's what you put your name as, and it's like down in the chat as well. And Charlie. Dylan, starting with you, how are you tonight, mate?
Good, mate. 3 out of 3 in the Champions League. The only Aston Villa at the top up there with 3 from 3. So, yeah, buzzing to just get away with the win. I know wasn't best performance at times, but not as I said after the post match from the game the other day. People thought we would probably go there and win quite comfortably, but it was never going to be that type of game where we're going to win 3-4-0. It was always going to be a tight game. They're a good attacking side, so take the win, take the 3 points, move past it, and yeah, build even further confidence, hopefully for the weekend going into the Arsenal game. So yeah, buzzing, top of it, 3 from 3, love it.
Yeah, it's easy. As Dylan just said there, it was never going to be that game, was it, where you go and turn this side over. I mean, this the second in the Bundesliga. They've started well, got some very good attackers, but it was a very professional performance from Liverpool tonight, wasn't it?
Yeah, most definitely. It was an open game, and I'm glad that we didn't rotate too much because, I mean, Slot, to his credit, he obviously respects the opponents a lot, and, he goes with a strong team. And so I think it was a professional job, like Dylan said, and good to get the result. Another clean sheet. We'll talk about our man of the match. But yeah, I thought our defense was pretty solid, and there was some nervy moments at times, but obviously Kelleher pulled off some big saves. So I'm just buzzing for the result, but the clean sheet is excellent.
Yeah, Charlie. I mean, it's another clean sheet. I think 7 from 12 this year. Just how good have we been defensively this season?
We've been very good. I mean, as CT said, then there's a lot of shaky moments, but as much as Alisson's been injured, Kelleher's been there to step in, and as you said, we'll talk about man of the matches, but he was fantastic. I know what's his name, Darren Fletcher on commentary. He said the sign of a brilliant keeper is when nothing's happening, and then straight away, as soon as he's needed, he's there.
Yeah, Dylan, we are going to get on to our man of the matches in about 5 minutes, but just touching on Kelleher, Dylan, how fantastic has he been? I mean, it's unfortunate for him, isn't it? At the minute Ali's back, he is a number 2 again, but probably starts for most sides in Europe, Kelleher, doesn't he?
Most sides in the Premier League, most sides across Europe. To be fair to him, it's just a shame for him that he's always had Ali in front of him as the number 1. To be fair, so there's no one really that's going to push Ali that much in terms of being number 1, but he's a very, very close second in terms of when we need him to step up. He always does. I think said the other day it was like his 50th game for Liverpool, which considering as he's a second keeper over the last couple of seasons because of Ali's injuries, he's had to step up a little bit more often than you'd probably like for a second keeper. But trust him when he's there, he always does the job, and it's just a shame for him that he's not a number 1 for someone, because he should be. He deserves to be a number 1 for someone. And yeah, I've always got full faith in him when he's in goal. To be fair, for us, I've never really got any issue with him. It's just a shame for him that Ali is also so good, and he just never really gets a game ahead when Ali's fully fit. But yeah, you saw in that moment now, two double saves, one after each other, for the one that was 1-on-1 and the one from the next corner straight afterwards. As soon as he was called upon, did exactly what he needed to do. So yeah, no issues with him when we need to have him in goal.
Yeah, CC, another person who massively impressed me today, and he hasn't been short of critics 6 seasons, Dominic Szoboszlai. I think his link-up play, his build-up play throughout the whole pitch was probably one of the best we've seen from him in recent weeks, wasn't it?
Yeah, man, it was impressive. I'm with you, and I think his link-up was great. And I think I put it in the chat earlier in the week. I feel like with Jones looking better recently as well, I think Slot really is, he kept saying he hasn't got the best out of everyone yet. And some people are doubting it. Some people believe it. I'm believing it because I feel like, it's taken some time, but he's made a lot of players, start playing better football. And, and hopefully Dominic, I know he has so much more to give, and it was just impressive, like you said, to see him put in a great performance.
Yeah, I mean, who do you think, Charlie's the best players that Slot so far got the best out of? I mean, we've seen improvements pretty much with the whole side, to be fair, which is mad that they could improve, given that they'd worked under Klopp. But who's excited you the most with the developments under Slot?
I think the obvious one is Gravenberch. to see him. We needed a 6 last season. Not getting Zubimendi coming into the season was a bit sketchy, but the revitalisation of Gravenberch from his first season is fantastic. Also allowing McAllister to play a bit more forward, because he was playing R6 last season and it was quite limiting his actual abilities. But another one is Trent. I think as much as he's already the best right back in the world, defensively, again, I thought he was superb today. There was one time where he slapped a little bit, where Simmons stopped it from going out for a goal kick. But I thought apart from that, he's brilliant.
Yeah, unbelievable, Trent. I think I agree with you. His defensive abilities this season have excelled even more. So it's the point. It's just another thing where you don't want to lose him, really. Carl Bean showed Muse, and another good win on the road. Don't forget, if you are on YouTube, if you're watching on X, get over to YouTube and leave a like and subscribe to the video. If you're on YouTube, do leave a comment, and we'll try and get through to as many as we can. But we will go through our man of the matches. Start with you first, Dylan. Who was your man of the match and why?
So I think there's a couple of people who had a good game. I think Charlie just touched on that. Trent defensively today, again, another solid performance. And the first 15, 20 minutes, he's a bit shaky, but after that, got a lot more into the game. But for me today, probably Cody Gakpo, to be honest with you, down the left-hand side. Really direct at times. I think there was 2 or 3 times in the first half where link-up play, passing and moving, 1 and 2 touch, and then that one shot at the edge of the box that wasn't really... didn't lead to anything, but the play and the build up to it was what you want to kind of see. And I think down that left hand side with him and Diaz, I was kind of from the way he was like last season, where he wasn't as direct. And I think you were touching there about Slot potentially improving people slightly. I think that's come on more this season with Gakpo as well. When he is on the left hand side, you do feel he's more of a threat. And last season in particular, there'd be games where he'd slow down our attack slightly, or the touch wouldn't quite be there, the link up play wouldn't quite be there. This season it's come on massively, and I think tonight was one of those occasions where you kind of saw that he was always a threat down the left hand side, and him and Nunes in particular, the link up in the first half. I think as the game went on, he started to fade, but then even in the last 10 minutes, he had a couple more chances again. So yeah, I think throughout the game, always a threat, and for me, he was man of the match.
Yeah, he was unbelievable today. I think he's been a good few performances this season, to be fair, since he's been on the left, which shows all them people who think he's a 9, though he's not a 9. He's a left winger. Like, who would have thought Gakpo in his best fault himself? But Muse reckons Canate, Kelleher, Gakpo, or Darwin. Paul saying Kelleher or Grav. What about you, CT? Who are you thinking man of the match?
Yeah, there's a lot of good shouts, but I'll go with the big Ibu. I think, we just spoke on Slot's ability to get the best out of a player, but I feel like that's a huge underrated story for the whole season so far. After Ipswich, basically, making that change at half time, and Ibu's playing the best football that I've seen him, since a Liverpool shirt, and his ability to progress the ball, I think, is impressive. But just be that, the one half of the best, defense for this season has been incredible. Like Paul says, new backroom staff in the chat. Yeah, he's healthy. Knock on wood that he remains healthy, and I think we're starting to see him have a huge run of games where it's obviously helping our defense, keeping clean sheets as well. And he's young and just signed a new deal. And so I think, the sky's the limit, best centre back pairing in the world right now.
Yeah, I'd agree with that. To be fair, Ibu is an absolute monster. Second best centre half in the world. Best centre half pair in the world, in my opinion. That's not even being biased either. And he's been desperate for that man of the match as well, to be fair, hasn't he? Like when he didn't get it the other week, he was fuming. So I hope they do give it to him. Charlie, what about you? Who are you going to go with at man of the match?
I'm going to go with Kelleher. I think Gravenberch was my other choice, but I think without those saves, we would have drew the game. He really did keep us in it. I think Gravenberch, as I said, played fantastic, and I do agree with Dylan and CT with the shouts of Canate and Gakpo. I thought that there was a lot of players that did impress, that did surprise me. I thought Tsimikas played really well, and Nunes. I was happy that Salah got taken off. I know he wasn't happy that he got brought off, but I thought he wasn't playing too well and keeps him fresh for Arsenal. But yeah, I'll go with Kelleher. What about you, Matty?
Yeah, I'll probably go Ebou myself. I loved Kelleher, especially that save towards the end. I think he was, like you said, if you're a sign of a good goalkeeper, really is. If you're quiet all game and can make saves like that, and I think he was exceptional. But for me, I'd just give it to Ebou purely because he deserves a man of the match this season. I think he's desperate for one. I think he does deserve his chance to get one. He's been phenomenal for us this year, and I'm glad to just see him keep his fitness really as well and play every single week. I just hope that we aren't overplaying him too much. Gonna put this comment to you, Dylan from Paul. Dom's well off the game. He has the legs and looks, but what else is he offering? I think that's a bit unfair on Dom today. I think today was one of his better performances in the Liverpool shirt. But put it to you, what do you think?
Again, I agree with you there, mate. I think today it's a little bit harsh in terms of some of the comments. But I can see in some games where that might come across because he has a lot of running power, but at times it's kind of to what purpose sometimes. But I think today in particular he did hold the midfield quite well together, him and Maka. I think there wasn't really much wrong with his performance today. He could release the ball quicker sometimes and have a shot a little bit more often you'd like to see, because when he hits it, it stays hit. He's got a bit of a rocket on him when he does hit it, so you'd want him to just take the chances sometimes. But the main thing I think he offers is he just stretches the midfield of the opposition in other games. He does have a lot of running power and energy that doesn't seem to stop, in whether it's 10 minutes into the game or 70 minutes into the game. He's always sprinting through to try and connect our midfield to our attackers. So I think it's slightly harsh sometimes, some of the criticism that comes his way, but when he then doesn't make the pass in the right situation, I can see where the criticism comes from at times as well, because there it is almost sometimes one step forward, two steps back in terms of you've done the right thing, you've got in the right place, now finish it off and do the right thing to finish the chance. But yeah, I think his running power is the main attribute that he gives to our team, because other than him, the Gravenberch sits there and links up with everybody else, stretches it slightly. But in terms of someone who's going to really get up there with the attackers, I think he's the main person in terms of that option. Jones slightly more at the weekend, which was good to see. So see whether that continues between the two of them, of which one is going to continue that. But yeah, I think he does offer a lot more than people give him credit for at times. But yeah, I can see where the criticism comes from as well.
Yeah, CT. I mean, you just saying that some Liverpool supporters always have to have a fall guy, which I would probably agree with. It seems like it's been Curtis quite often from most of our fans. Before that, you've had Henderson, and it does look like Dom's got the microscope on him this season. But is it fair to say that tonight aside, in recent performances in that midfield, Dom's position is the one that is probably up for grabs more so than Maka and Grav?
Yeah, I would agree. I just think maybe, I guess, out of the three main acquisitions last season, he's out of Gravenberch, McAllister, and himself is, coming on a little slower, or yet to reach, his heights. But I think it's there. And obviously the transfer fee was quite handsome. And so, yeah, former side tonight, and, he had a lot to prove, and I still think the best is yet to come. If there's an area that I want to see a bit more from, I think it's his end product. I think he scores some bangers for a national team, for Hungary, and I think it's obviously there, and I think, look, the Premier League, we're facing different opponents. It's less wide open. You got condensed low blocks, and, just try to unlock those. And I feel like he's got some talent finishing. He's great on the ball. He has a lot more to offer, I feel, than just, running up and down. He's just got to, establish a, consistency, I feel, for the fans to then appreciate him more.
Yeah, I completely agree with what you're saying. Charlie, what would you say on to Musia then? Who you're starting Sunday, Dom or Jones? Because I think for me, with Jones, how good he was against Chelsea, it just makes so much sense to start him against Arsenal, doesn't it?
Yeah, completely agree. Don't get me wrong, I don't think Szoboszlai was, anything to say he didn't play well today, but I don't think he was exceptional. I think that Jones has earned that place, and hopefully it will give Szoboszlai a bit of oomph in him to be like, well, maybe I need to start. I think last season he felt not comfortable, but nobody was really challenging him for that position. Whereas now you've got Jones playing, well, He's had one good game. Hopefully, we'll start to play better, like continue with the form, and hopefully, we'll just bring them both on, competing against each other.
Yeah, Dylan. I mean, looking at obviously, it's been mentioned, I think, by CT and yourself. With so obviously it is the end product, isn't it? So when we signed him, we were looking at like videos of him. You see him like banging shots from any distance he wants, really, and they were that accurate. The ball didn't really move. It was just a pure, absolute pile driver, and we haven't seen that at all for Liverpool. I think he scored one goal. That was like an absolute power driver, but since that, nothing else. What do you think needs to change in his game to get that out of him, really?
So I think the main thing is probably the decision making, because you see it and it almost becomes an easy criticism of it, because you see him in a situation where you're like, just hit it, and you're waiting for him to just get out of his feet and finish it. One that springs to mind is the United one in particular, where he's at the penalty spot, loads of people, it all opens up in front of him, and he still tries to dribble it into the goal. Whereas just put it in the corner, just score. So it's that, I think, the decision making of when to actually hit it and when to play someone else or take another touch. Because even when he does get the ball at the edge of the box, I think I was on the post to Crystal Palace, and it was similar in that game. He was right on the edge of the box where it opened up for him, and he took another touch and tried to play right. Then 20 seconds later, there was loads of people in front of him, and he decided to shoot. So I think it's the when to shoot, when not to shoot, the snap moments of decision making, and that's why I think it does become easy to pile on him when it doesn't happen, because then you look at it and you've got evidence where you go, he missed that chance, or he passed it then instead of shooting, and it does start to add up from that. So it does become easy to pile onto it. And if he just made a couple of times where he got out of his feet, first touch, hit it, and scored 3 or 4 times in a row, people are then going to be like, well, now we are starting to see it. So I think it's kind of easy to go either way on it quite quickly.
Yeah. Hello to you, Daz, as well. Anyone in the comments, go and subscribe to this podcast. One of the best podcast interviews. Absolutely every ex-Red legend. He's boss. Go and subscribe to Daz. You will not regret it. CT, is this comment from Paul? When Harvey's fit, who do we drop? I don't think Harvey's positions as safe as coming in and starting to you. Like, he slotted and fancy him at the start of the season. I know he's went out with an injury, but do you think Harvey comes in and starts instantly, or he's got a bit of a mountain on his hands to go into the side?
Yeah, I think he does. I think obviously he's got to get his fitness up. It's a long road back, but I think he'll get his chances. We've got obviously a long stretch with the cup tournaments. We're going to go deep in this one. I think I like Harvey in that super sub role at the moment. He's got the quality to start, no doubt about it. He's a quality lad, and he's still young as well. I think we forget about how young Harvey is, and I think he's a future starting player for this team. But yeah, right now, I guess it's a good headache to have. If healthy competition. I don't know if we just mentioned, but yeah, Simi got the official man of the match today. So that was a good shout from Charlie. I think that said it. And yeah, he did have a good game, but that's not my first preference. But yeah, I was a little surprised that Simi got it. But yeah, it's a good guy to have off the bench in terms of Harvey. He can change a game. He can be more direct, unlock the low blocks in the Prem. I think that's where he's most valuable. What do you think?
I think Harvey Elliott's a super sub, a bit like Jota. I think Jota's phenomenal off the bench, and I think Harvey Elliott changes games when he comes in off the bench as well. Jota, for me, is probably one of the best box strikers in the world. He knows where the goal is, but I think he reads the game so well from the bench that when he comes in, he knows the space he can get into to make an impact. And I think it's the same with Elliott. I think he's just an unbelievably good impact sub at the minute. What about you, Charlie? What's your thoughts? Does Elliott just walk back into the team?
No, unfortunately not. I think that he's got the capability to do so once he's got his fitness back up. Because, I mean, Jones is coming into some form, but Szoboszlai isn't, doing exceptional. So I think he's got a very good chance of getting back in there, but not straight away.
Yeah, that's fair. Moving on to the ref then, Dylan. You mentioned the ref earlier in the game. Who knew? Ref was very kind to the opposition. I was quite disappointed in the ref, because usually the European refs are a lot better than what we have week in, week out in the Premier League. I like the VAR in Europe, for example. Decisions instant. You're not waiting ages for some stupid idiot in Stockley Park to be sorting it out. But he did have a bit of a blunder, didn't he, the ref today?
Yeah, he had a bit of a shocking moment. It's quite a few times, to be fair, where he was decisions where I wasn't really sure what he was getting at. Like the McAllister one to start with, when he booked him for diving, he's on the half turn, he's got past somebody, he's literally still on the ball. Why would he possibly dive? But yeah, that was a bit of a strange one. But me and my lad were watching it here, and we both kind of said to each other, it felt like with those types of things, he was almost trying to say straight away, I'm going to show everyone not to get on top of me in this game, and I'm going to do something early, because there was literally nothing in that one. And then the penalty in particular, I've no idea how, when you've got VAR there, you can look at it, see whether the ball's going out of play or not. He's kicked him in the shin. It's a penalty. I've no idea how they haven't come to a penalty in the end. But yeah, some quite strange decisions in the first half in particular.
Well, UCT, I mean, usually the Champions League is a bit of a break in it from poor decisions and referees sort of getting the spotlight on the game. But I think within like 10 minutes, you booked 3 players. You had the McAllister, like Dylan just said, which was a joke. Then you had the penalty decision, which was definitely a pen. How can errors like this happen on the bigger stage?
Yeah, it's a head scratcher, isn't it? I don't know if it was the crowd, he felt the pressure. I don't know the experience level of this referee as well. Sometimes they can get a bit nervy in these experience games, and just kind of want to, like you said, stamp their authority a bit early. But yeah, it was a head scratcher, and a stonewall pen, and the McAllister one was just unbelievable. It was as bad as the Nunes one on the weekend. Was a 50-50 challenge, and it was so clear. But yeah, to book McAllister for a dive, he clearly doesn't know what McAllister's all about, because he just doesn't do those things. It just seems like Liverpool's always up against it. Is the 12th man on the other team. The official.
That's a fair point in it, Charlie. I thought that maybe with Jurgen going, I know we didn't have the best relationship referees. I thought a new manager coming in, we might get something, but same old, isn't it?
Yeah, I said it after the Chelsea game that you can see Slot cracking with some of the refs. He seems very calm, but you know how bad the referees are when you're seeing him get annoyed at the officiating. I think tonight, I mean, it's human error. Sometimes, decisions don't go your way. Referee sees it from a different angle. But that's why VAR is there. Well, it's meant to be there for stuff like the penalty, to be able to see it and help the referees. But luckily we won. If we hadn't, if we'd have drawn, it would have been a big thing to be made of. But yeah, thankfully we won.
Yeah, definitely. Before we move on, I just want to raise this what users brought up. I didn't even know Redmen were doing fundraisers for Zoe's Place, but big up to them. Zoe's Place is a hospice based in Liverpool, Coventry, and Middlesbrough, and it supports like babies and young children with life-limiting and life-threatening and complex conditions. It's one of the best things this city has, to be fair, and I know it's in a few other cities, but it's a charity that has always been big in Liverpool, and it should be supported. And the fact that it was on the verge of non-existence anymore, it's a real shame. So big up to Redmen, raising 30,000 already in live streams. That's absolutely massive. And I've seen everyone from the city come together to support this. You've seen like Paddy, Molly, loads of people doing things for them. But one thing I am disappointed about is Liverpool and Everton are still yet to support this. I think Liverpool and Everton could pretty much build them the hospice and make them last for years if they could be bothered doing it. And I think it's a real shame that both big clubs in the city haven't done it, and it's taken fan channels like Redmen and local celebrities to get the money there for Zoe's Place. So that's one downside. I think the clubs need to pull the finger out and sort that. But if anyone is thinking about Zoe's Place, do go and show your support. It's a fantastic setup in Liverpool, and being involved in the health industry and stuff myself, all the support helps, and Zoe's Place deserves absolutely everything that they get. Moving back onto the game, Dylan, like Charlie just said, a win's a win, but did you expect at the start of this Champions League, after, I know it's only been 3 weeks, but you'd see Liverpool and Villa 2 points clear of everybody else?
When you looked at our fixtures to start off with, what people think of it is it's slightly easier, but in terms of it, we've had AC Milan away, RB Leipzig away, so they aren't easy away games in terms of Champions League opposition either. So it shouldn't be underestimated, those types of games as well. and what it does do in terms of the next few games, where we've got this horrible run of games that are on the way. When we've got Leverkusen and Real Madrid, as much as obviously everyone would love to win those games, it slightly takes the pressure off those games now in terms of when we've got Lille, Girona and stuff still to come towards the end of it. So slightly takes the pressure off that, but 3 wins from 3, you can't really complain to sit there at the top at this point, even with Villa.
It's mad in a CT that Villa are absolutely flying. I mean, I think this is a big stab in the dark from Paul saying the title contenders. I don't think they're that far off, but Unai Emery's doing an unbelievable job. I don't think anyone expected them to have 3 from 3 themselves, especially when they played Bayern Munich. And you look at that Champions League table, I know City are gang of cheats, but the top 3 are English sides. Does that show the level and quality coming out the Prem? And do you think it's going to be an English side that does go all the way this year?
Yeah, I hope so, and I hope it's us, and I think we got a great chance. I think, I've just been so impressed with Slot in the start, and I think with all these international breaks and the hiccups and the interruptions, he deserves even more credit. I think, obviously people are starting to question the lack of rotation a bit, but you're getting the results, so it's a trade-off. Do you want the results, or do you want heavy rotation? I'd love to know what you guys think, but yeah, I'm glad to see him go strong because, I mean, we saw tonight, you couldn't really underestimate Leipzig at home and getting these results on the road. And what is Slot? He's second to Shankly now in terms of a start.
Yeah, seen that. I heard that before. Should I say on the game, Charlie? That's a big person to come up against, and he surpassed Paisley, and now he's level with Shankly. Does Slot deserve more credit than what people are giving him, or is it a matter of he inherited a world-class side and it was sort of expected?
He deserves a lot more credit, but I think in a selfish way, it's quite nice that a big fuss isn't being made because we can go under the radar. Hopefully nobody really thinks about us, and then end of the season, quadruple winners, that's the dream. But I'm in love with him, not in a relationship way, but in a footballing way. He's got me. I think he's brilliant. I think the way how he's improved certain players, he's made us seem a lot more calmer on the ball. I'm completely bought into Arne Slot's penitentiary.
Dylan Muse is saying it seems he picked the right man for the job, but as we all know, he wasn't the first man for the job. It was probably Alonso. I'd probably say Amorim was more of a smokescreen, but is it a blessing in disguise not getting our number 1 target and getting second choice, or would you still? I know it's in hindsight, I Liverpool flying saying would you still like Alonso, but are you happy that Alonso chose to stay at Leverkusen, so we did move on to someone like Slot?
Yeah, I was one of them as well. I was quite happy if it was going to be Alonso. It was going to be Alonso. I was more than happy with that as well. But he might not have been first choice, but it looks like he was the right choice now, doesn't it? So that's all I can kind of say to people. And who'd have thought of the games that have gone past that the Nottingham Forest one would be the frustrating one out of a lot of them. So yeah, just take the start for what it is and hopefully continue to build on it as these next few games come around into the next international break, because it's going to get tough. Rotation probably is going to start to need to be seen in some of the Carabao Cup game and stuff like that as we go through. And I think that'll be quite interesting as well to see what he does with the Carabao Cup, because obviously Klopp's first couple of seasons, he was kind of hit and miss whether he decided to take those as seriously in the first few seasons. So I know in his first when he got to the final, but after those couple of seasons after that and the FA Cup weren't really there in terms of some of the performances into team selection. So that was almost sacrificed sometimes. And then as he got further in, he started to take it a little bit more seriously. So be interesting to see whether he does go with a more rotated and slightly younger squad at times as well in the Carabao Cup, especially next week against Brighton. And yeah, see whether we can carry on with that. But no, I think right choice in terms of what is happening so far. Enjoying it, more controlled in terms of the games. It feels a little bit more comfortable, even where we are wonder-lapping games, rather than all-out attack all of the time. Yeah, and sometimes worrying what's going to happen at the back. But yeah, no, enjoying the start.
Yes, I mean, Daz is saying what he believes his changes were much better at the back this season, playing a lot more compact. I mean, there's only 3 goals against in the league, 1 in the Champions League. We've got 7 clean sheets in 12 matches. That's literally all the gripe was with Liverpool last season, wasn't it? That we did seem to concede too many goals. So fixing that to see us then just grind games out, and whether you win a game 1-0 or 3-0. I mean, I know things can come down to goal difference at the end of the season, but if Liverpool can just continue to grind results out, and like Charlie said, go under the radar, it could potentially be a big season with plenty of silverware, couldn't it?
Yeah, man. I think like fair play to FSG in terms of just on the selection of Slot and what you were talking about with the other candidates. You know, they talked about Slot having sort of less of a transition coming on from Klopp in terms of maybe just tweaking a few things like the defense, and like Daz has said, and I feel like Klopp, Slot has respected and understood what Klopp did well, and he's just looked at tweaking a few things, and obviously being a bit more calmer on the ball. Not trying to win every game 3-0, but just making sure you're safer at the back and get the result, but also get higher quality chances, perhaps, in terms of build-up play and being a bit more calculated, picking the lock, like we did against Chelsea. I know he was drawing a lot of criticism in terms of some strategy against Chelsea, but you've got to look at the opponent and their weaknesses and just figure out the way that you can, unlock that.
Charlie, I mean, Paul saying as well, we are a much better team defensively, but did you imagine when at the start of the season we'd be this good? Because I don't think I've ever seen a Liverpool side be this compact defensively. Like, we've got the best defense record in Europe, definitely the best in the league, and to just see us constantly grinding them results out, not conceding many goals. Kelleher's claiming he's keeping clean sheets as well. It's one of the best sights you could see. As much as it's scoring loads of goals, it's good to see Liverpool just tighten that back up, isn't it?
It is. And I think, as you say, I think the comment said that everybody is cohesive. I said earlier how well Trent's been defensively this season, and sometimes it can be used as an argument he's not good defensively, which I think is a weak argument, but he has massively improved this season. Tsimikas got man of the match today. Whether he did, whether Kelleher, Konate, Gravenberch deserved it ahead of him, who knows, but he did deserve that in some way. I know it's not him defensively, but his corners today, I did want to just mention, were brilliant. I think watching us take, especially last season, watching Robertson hit the first man every single game was very draining. So for it to actually get into the mixer, it was a very nice sight. But yeah, it's very nice to see. You feel composed, you feel calm. Even if, like, when Openda was getting in behind, he scored 2 goals today and they were both offside, you still felt it's fine. The flag's got to get drawn up here because the line that's being kept, it's perfect.
Yeah, it has been, hasn't it, Dylan, the line this year. I mean, Liverpool have always played the offside trap very well, but this year it seems like we've just tweaked that slightly as well, don't we? And they're all, like Charlie just said, it's perfect. There's no other word for it. That back line is just all in tandem.
Yeah, and it comes down to Virgil van Dijk and Konate, that relationship they've built again this season. It's really taken off. Everyone keeps saying about them being the best defensive partnership this season, and they are by a mile. At this point, no one can really argue with it. There's always going to be, in high line, there's always going to be chances where a team will catch you out or they will sneak a goal. Chelsea, for example, at the weekend, Ibu's leg is slightly further back than everybody else. But tonight, they scored 2 goals, and there was no worry. You could see they were offside beforehand because both Ibu and Virgil were just looking across like, no, he's offside. So the worry doesn't seem to be there with the high line like it used to be, where we were nearly at the halfway at times and feeling like if one of them didn't catch up, we were done. But they're solid across the back, and like they touched on now with Trent this season, a lot better defensively. And the games when Tsimikas has come in, Crystal Palace, he was very good. Tonight, very good. If we can continue that, where we have to swap him and Robbo if needed, if we have someone that can step up to the same sort of level defensively, well, yeah, keep it going, and long may the defensive record continue, and we keep people out, win 1-0. That's all it takes to win games. So, yeah, keep it up.
Before we get on to more costs, I saw Paul. I wish I was on the beer, but it's a school night, so I can't. And I've got an 11-month-old baby. I wish I could just be blathered, but I can't be. But CT, Costas stepped up a level this year, hasn't he, to be fair? So I think he's always been a fantastic backup left back. But like Charlie said, his corners are probably the best Liverpool have delivery-wise maybe Soboslai as well. Doesn't really get much of a chance to take the no Costas with him being a number 2, but when he stepped up this year, like Dylan's just alluded to, he's been fantastic, hasn't he? He's one of the best backups you could have, really.
Yeah, stepped it up. But yeah, Charlie hit the nail in terms of the crosses. It was high quality. We have started scoring some better goals from set pieces, with the 2 twin towers, and it's just a great luxury to have. I think it silenced some of the noise on our backup at left back, and obviously Robbo, is playing better football this season, I feel, than last as well. He's after his layoff, he's taken some time to get back up to full speed, and I feel like, yeah, you could obviously look at giving credit to Tsimikas first, but second, you could say Slot. It's another player that is playing better football, this season. And, Tsimikas ain't that old. He's, 27, 28. And so, yeah, I'm just glad that he can get this chance, play Champions League football now. He's been with us through the great days and some not so great days. And here he is still, contributing in a major way. And, he's accepted a lesser role. It's not easy for a first choice international to be a backup or accept that role at a club, but as a club as big as Liverpool, he understands it, and he's just one of the lads, and he's always given off good vibes at the AXA, and it just seems like a good teammate. Does Simi?
Yeah, is this bold then, Charlie? Who knew saying he'd play Costas against Arsenal for his crossing alone, and Muse is saying Robbo, but what about you? Do you think?
Yeah, after that performance, I think Robertson, he's, don't know how to say it without, he's not been the Robertson that we have, I think, in our minds. I think the Robertson that I certainly have in my mind is best left back for a period of time, like when we won the league, when we were in the Champions League, he was phenomenal. But he has slowly declined from then. And I said it on Sunday. The competition that Tsimikas will give him is brilliant, because hopefully it will make him then want to do better. I think Tsimikas deserves a start along with Jones as well on the weekend.
What about you, Dylan? Costas has always been one that divides opinion, but I think this season, like what Charlie just said, he really has stepped up, and Robbo is declining. And the same, I think I always view Robbo with the rose-tinted glasses. He's the best left back in the world, but it is time probably sometimes to look and think he has declined since what the levels we've seen from him. He is losing his legs. Costas has got better legs than I think at the minute now. I think Costas is crossing at the minute is up there, or is it too much of a risk when you're playing someone like Arsenal to throw Costas into the game?
I wouldn't necessarily think it's too much of a risk. I think if he plays, he plays. I wouldn't mind him playing at all. But for me, I would still start Robertson. If I'm honest, I would still have him in the team for the weekend. Especially, we don't know whether Saka is or isn't going to be fit. I know there's rumours either way, but if Saka is fit, I think Saka would prefer to be playing against Costas than potentially against Robertson in terms of getting at him continuously through the game. I think Robertson might not get as forward as much if Saka's down that side, but I think it's more secure with Robertson if Saka is playing. And again, if Costas does play, got no issue with him playing at all, but my preference would probably be Robertson.
Yeah, that's fair. That's fair. One of the reasons UCC Paul reckons that Slot seems to see more in Costas than what Jurgen did. Do you reckon that's a fair comment?
Yeah, good shout. I think that's the advantage of a new manager in terms of fresh eyes, just see something different. And I think the lads were buzzing after a few weeks, just excited to play under a manager with, other ideas, nothing to do with Klopp at all. It's just, bit of a refreshment and bit of a rejuvenation. And I think, from all the lads that hopefully sign their contract extension soon, there's been leaks that, they're all really enjoying their football under Arne Slot. So big shout out to him again. And he should be winning manager of the month a lot more. I know it's sort of been a mixed bag between other guys, but yeah, just in terms of the Arsenal fixture, if it was any other team, I would probably go Tsimikas, because I think it's important to reward a player that's putting in good work and a good shift, and just keep that continuity. But the experience of Robbo is hard to leave him out. For a big cutthroat fixture, tempers can flare, and it can boil over a bit on the pitch, and just having that experienced lad, captain like Robbo, it would be more beneficial, I think, in a tough game. But otherwise, I'd probably give Tsimikas that opportunity to keep going.
Yeah, I think I can see more Robbo on Sunday and Tsimikas starting Brighton and going that way. But Muse has put some stats up here, Charlie, that I want to put to all years, but I'll start with you. Gravenberch versus Leipzig, 95% pass accuracy, 10 passes to the final third, 2 out of 2 accurate long balls, 2 out of 3 tackles won, 7 recoveries, 4 interceptions, 1 clearance, 5 out of 7 duels. You alluded to it before, how much he stepped up under Slot, but just how good has he been this year? Like, it's probably fair to say he's been pivotal for Liverpool's defensive tightening up and pivotal to our whole performances, really, hasn't he?
Yeah, he's everywhere. I mean, you think that he's lost the ball, and he's not. His big leg's just there. He's got it. He's got control. He's laying off the pass. He's keeping the ball with him. He's starting to. I know we're only 12 games into the season, but similar to how Van Dijk gets the treatment of, oh, he's good anyway. We don't need to talk about how well he played. He's been phenomenal. He was phenomenal today again. I mean, those stats proved it. You know, stats are for mugs is the famous line, but when you're watching him and you're seeing how he's playing, the stats aren't for mugs, and he's been probably best player of the season for me so far for us.
Yeah, I mean, Dylan Muse is agreeing with Charlie there straight away. Player of the year. It is only 12 games in, but keep this performance up. He's in there with a shout, isn't he? Like, he's the fact that he's changed his tables at Liverpool this much, because I think he's someone who, if he would have left in the summer when Klopp went, you probably would have thought, oh, we won't miss him anyway. He hasn't really been that good. But like Charlie said at the start of the stream, we went into the season thinking, oh, we need a 6. And then Grav is, I'm saying we don't need a 6 anymore, but Grav sort of silenced any debate about that, hasn't he?
Yeah, and he has, and people are saying about him in the 6, but he looks just at the moment a complete midfielder. He looks like he could play anywhere across there if you put him in there at the moment. And yeah, like you've touched on, it is early into the season, but if he continues anywhere near the form he's been on, then long may it continue for us, because he's just tearing other midfields apart at the moment. He just looks so composed on the ball every single game, connecting up with the attack, sitting in when he needs to. And he seems to have this almost aura about him now, where he's just like, no, I'll take the responsibility in this midfield for now, and it's on me. I'll get us forward. I'll win the tackles. I'll do everything else around the pitch. And he just seems, like Charlie just said, he seems to be everywhere. You look and you think a pass is coming through the midfield, and all of a sudden he's intercepted it and he's turned away. If he carries it on, then at the moment he's one of the first names on the team sheet, and he'd be one of the first names on the end of the season 11 if that was the case, if he carries on the way he is, and he'd be right up there for the awards come the end of the season. But let's see what happens when it carries on, because it is quite early, but long may it continue for us, because it's just ripping midfields apart at a time for now.
Yeah, he's been unbelievable. I just wish he stepped up last year, because I think we might have, if he had this level last season, I think we would have won the league. Genuinely think that. So it's a shame to see him step up now and not the year before, but happy to see it. But CT, question I asked you earlier is, he's playing every minute, same as Canate. They have both never played this much football in their careers consecutively without picking up knocks. Now, I know we do have a new backroom team, and it seems like injuries seem to, touch wood, have reduced quite significantly with this new team. But does that worry you that Slot doesn't rotate as much as you'd probably like to see across all the competitions?
Yeah, a little bit, I guess it's fair to say. Until we see a drop off in performance, though, then I'll buy into that a bit more. But whatever Slot's doing, he's got the magic ingredients, and the backroom staff are putting in great work. And I think one thing he's doing to mitigate that, the risk, is the early substitutions. Get the result, or get up 1-0 at least, and take care of the game. Close it down. Be a little bit more patient. And I think, just on the whole Gravenberch success story this season, it's important that a manager gets a player that suits their system best. And you could look at Gravenberch as just being, Slot looking at him and going, look, he's perfect for my system. The same way he may have thought Zubimendi was. And but the same way Endo was, Klopp looked at him as perfect for his system and his perfect 6. The counter to that is, Gravenberch just perfect for what Arne Slot wanted to do from the beginning. And I guess that you know, we're starting to see the vision in terms of the transfer window and why it was Zubimendi or no one. You know, it was like he really bought into and believed in Gravenberch from the beginning, and we didn't see it yet. So it sort of started to answer a lot of those, you know, doubts, you know.
Charlie, do you think that we will go back in for Zubimendi, or do you think Slot will look at that midfield now and think, well, we've got our starting three probably on paper at the minute being McAllister, Gravenberch, and Szoboszlai. That's the one he seems to prefer. And then you've got depth in like Jones and Elliott, and you've got Trey and Yoni and stuff like that. Or do you think this is something that'll be judged like what Daz is alluding to, that there's still big matches coming up that he's going to be tested? You think of City, Real Madrid, Arsenal on the weekend, games like that. Do you think that's when Slot will make his decision on whether we do still target that 6?
I think he'll still be targeting one anyway, whether it's Zubimendi or not. I think the only way we still go back in for Zubimendi is if he's got like full 100% approval from the player himself, because it was quite embarrassing how public it was known that we were going to go for him, and then we just didn't get him. It was similar to our last season. Put the bid in for Caicedo, got it accepted, didn't get him. I think, although yes, Real Madrid, City, Arsenal are different to where Chelsea are. Chelsea are in a different period of time, like in terms of with a new coach. But he was brilliant on the weekend against Caicedo and Lavia. And then even when Enzo Fernandez came on, I had no issue dealing with him. Again, saw it tonight, saw it throughout the season. I think as long as he doesn't get injured, he'll be sound. But, you know, they're very big words. Injuries can happen. He goes out. As much as Endo is a good player to rely on, again, is he going to take us? Is he going to make that difference of us going all the way this season, like we probably should have last season?
Yeah, completely agree. But before we leave it there, I'm going to go through all 3, as I know it's only 3 games into the Champions League. We are top, 2 points clear of several sides, City included. Can Liverpool go all the way this year, and will we be lifting it in Munich come May? Dylan, first.
Go on, why not? Absolutely, we can. If we carry on the way we're playing, keep control of the games the way we're doing, yes, it's going to be tough periods during the season. There's no doubt about that. At some point, it's going to be really tough, especially if we stay in 4 competitions deep again. But let's dream. Why not? Let's go and win it.
I love that. What about you, CT?
Yeah, I'll say this: you got to score against us to beat us. Right now, we've got the best centre back pairing, the best defence, and we've got 2 keepers that are arguably the best in the world right now on form. So good luck trying to score against us. So I really like our chances. I think we just got to take our chances better. You know, even if we just get up 1-0, right? You know, we've got to, you know, the XG doesn't even have to be that high. We just got to be a huge favourite to win the game if we get up 1-0.
Yeah. What about you, Charlie? Finishes off. Can we win the Champions League this year?
We're going to win all 4 trophies. We're going for the quad, everything. But as long as Real Madrid exist, there is always that doubt in my mind about the Champions League. I will never truly feel at peace until that club is gone. So, how about you?
Yeah. I think that you're going to feel more at peace when Real Madrid come to Anfield and we tear them a new one. They look ropey against Dortmund. Yeah, they turned it back on, but I don't think they can turn it back on at Anfield. I think the crowd, it'll be a magical game. That I really do think I'm in the same deluded camp as you, though, that we're going to win everything, to be honest. For the Champions League, I want it more so because it's the day after my brother's wedding, and I just want to test his marriage after one day to see if he doesn't go on his honeymoon and flies to Munich with me, or if he goes on his honeymoon. That's why I want it so much. But we will leave it there. Nice one, Muse, and nice one to Dylan, CT, and Charlie for all coming on. We are back tomorrow. Just have a little look at who's on. You've got a boss lineup, Kings, and that's on tomorrow. I think who's hosting as we start looking towards the Arsenal game. So don't miss that. We're here this week at 7 o'clock. We're just trying something new. So tune in tomorrow at 7 o'clock for that stream. And as always, we'll be on post-match and pre-match and stuff like that. So leave a like and subscribe on the video. There's over 2,000 people watching this. Get over to YouTube, like and subscribe. Does loads for the channel. But yeah, nice one for watching, and we'll see you all next time.